So, in the last session of satellite communication and networking, we have discussed an essential component for the space segment, that is the transponder and its types. Now, in this lecture, we are going to discuss again two components for the space segment, that is the wideband receiver and the input demultiplexer. The topics to be covered in the following session are the wideband receiver and the input demultiplexer. Now, what is the significance of wideband receiver and what is the significance of input demultiplexer, and what is the need for to design these two components or two subsystems in the space segment, that we will see in this session with the help of block diagram. Starting with the wideband receiver. So, the wideband receiver is shown in more detail in figure which will be seen in the next slide. A duplicate receiver is provided so that if one fails, the other is automatically switched in. Right? So here in the wideband receiver, we are using a duplicate receiver which is called as redundant receiver, so that if one receiver, one chain of receiver gets fault or fail, the other will be automatically switched on. This combination is referred to as redundant receiver, meaning that although two are provided, only one is in use at a given time. So redundant, that means it is a extra part or extra receiver which is the same part of that particular original receiver, through which if the one of the receiver fails, then we can switch on to the automatic receiver with the help of command. The first stage in the receiver is a low noise amplifier, that is LNA. This amplifier adds little noise to the carrier being amplified, and at the same time it provides sufficient amplification for the carrier to override the higher noise level present in the following mixture stage. Right? So here we have seen in the figure that the first part after from the signal comes from the input filter, that is the preamplifier, which is nothing but LNA. Right? So what does the LNA do? LNA stands for low noise amplifier. So while passing through the signal through this amplifier, the signal will get amplified up to certain level for the with the carrier, so that the level of noise will be removed automatically. Right? So from this input filter we have a signal which having the power level of minus 1.5 decibel, which is passed through this LNA, and after passing from this LNA, the power level increase up to 28.5 dB power level. Right? Similarly, here you can see the dotted block, right, which is same as the below block, which is called as redundant receiver, which we have seen in the previous slide. So if there right now it is connected over here, if any block in this particular diagram will get fail off, then automatically through the command this switched automatically to this redundant receiver. Right? Now the LNA feeds into the mixture stage, which also requires a local oscillator signal for the frequency conversion process. So the same thing which we have discussed in the transponder, similar way the LNA, after the signal passed through LNA, it will passed on to the mixture stage, and in mixture stage two signals get mixed, in which one signals come from LNA and second signal comes from the local oscillator, and through which the frequency conversion process takes place. The power drive from local oscillator to the mixture input is about 10 dBm. The oscillator frequency must be highly stable and have low phase noise. Right? So the power from the local oscillator, that is about 10 dBm. So the oscillator frequency is highly stable and have low phase noise. So this is the two characteristics for the local oscillator. A second amplifier follows the mixture stage to provide an overall receiver gain of about 60 dB. So after passing from the mixture state, it will follow or it will pass through the second amplifier, and from the second amplifier the output of the signal will have the receiver gain up to 60 dB. These signal levels in decibel refer to the input are shown in this figure which we have seen in the diagram. Now, splitting the gain between the pre-amplifier at 6 GHz and the second amplifier at 4 GHz, right? So, the first amplifier LNA which are used at 6 GHz, and after down converting with the help of mixture, again second amplifier is used at 4 GHz, right? So, due to this, when we split the gain between these two different frequencies, it prevents the oscillations. That means the noise will be removed, which might occur if all the gain were to be provided at the same frequency. So, if the uplink and downlink frequency will be same, so due to this the collision oscillations will provided, and from oscillations the frequency will be changed and the noise will be added. Clear? So, when we are converting from uplink to downlink, this will prevent the oscillations, that is the removal of adding of the noise. The wideband receiver utilizes only solid state active devices. In some designs, tunnel diode amplifiers have been used for the pre-amplifier at 6 GHz in 6 to 4 GHz transponders, and for parametric amplifiers at 14 GHz in 14/12 GHz transponders. So whenever we are working with these two bands, that is C band and KU band, so particular for these two different frequency bands, we need a different wideband receivers with the different conversions of the transponders, right? And also amplifiers will be also used, that will be a different. Here in 6 GHz a tunnel diode amplifier will be used, right, for amplification purpose, where for 14 to 12 GHz transponders, that is in KU band, parametric amplifiers will be used, right? So depending on the frequency range on which we are acting on the transponders, depend on this the amplifiers will get changed. With advance in field effect transistor, that is FET technology, FET amplifiers which offers equal or better performance are now available for both bands. So in this earlier point we have discussed that for different bands we need the different types of amplifiers to be designed in the transponders, but after the advancements in the FET, that is field effect transistor, which is also one part of solid state active device, right? So this FET technology or FET amplifiers are used in both these bands, in C band also and in KU band also. Diode mixture stages are used. So for mixture stages they are used the diode. The amplifier following the mixture may be BJT, that is bipolar junction transistor, at 4 GHz and FET at 12 GHz, or FET may in fact used in both the bands, right? So for if we want to use for the C band for after a mixture state, that is for downlink purpose, then the amplifiers used there are bipolar junction transistor at 4, that is C band, and for KU band, that is FET, or FET can be used for the both the bands. Next topic, that is the input demultiplexer. So as you can see, as you have seen in this figure, that in the wideband receiver figure, that the input from the filter has been carried out, right? After processing in this receiver, the receiver output is fed to the input demultiplexer. So as we can see, the receivers, the signals which is between the 4 GHz and 6 GHz will transfer on to the input demultiplexer. So there will be a various signals. So due to this, all the signals get mixed over, multiplexed over this wideband receivers, and then these are passed to the input demultiplexer. So next, that is input demultiplexer. So the output from the wideband receiver will be the input demultiplexer. So the input demultiplexer separates the broadband input covering the frequency range from 3.7 to 4.2 GHz, that is the downlink range, because input demultiplexer used after conversion from the downlink. into the transponder frequency channels. So different frequency channels will be divided from 3.7 to 4.2 gigahertz. Referring to figure 1, for example, the separate channels labeled through 1 to 12 are shown in detail in figure 2. So we will see both the figures in the next slide. The channels are usually arranged in even numbered and odd numbered groups. These provide greater frequency separation between adjacent channels in a group, which reduces adjacent channel interference. So from this the input demultiplexer will have the channels from 1 to 12. It is separated through 1 to 12, and these 1 to 12 channels are arranged in even numbered group and the odd numbered groups, so that the frequency separation between the adjacent channels, that means one number channel and two number channel will have a slightly difference in the frequency. So there may be possible that there will be adjacent channel interference. So to avoid this adjacent channel interference, what we do is we divide this input demultiplexer channels into the even numbered and odd numbered groups. Now in this figure you can see these the output from the wideband receiver is converted from 3.7 to 4.2 gigahertz through this input demultiplexer to the 12 channels from 1 to 12, having the different frequency blocks, right? And it will be given to output demultiplexer to transmit the antenna, right? So these demultiplexed channel will multiplexed in output multiplexer, and then particular frequency channel will be transmitted through this transmit antenna, because single signal will be transmitted to that particular antennas. So these all signals from 3.7 to 4.2 will be multiplexed after demultiplexer, and then it will be transmitted to this transmitted antenna. This you can see that is the satellite transponder channels, which is different 12. Now as you can see in this figure, that is figure 1 and figure 2. So figure 1 having the frequency center frequency that is 3.720, and figure input demultiplexer second channel will having the frequency that is 3.760. So if we do this simultaneously, or if we arrange these two channels simultaneously, there will be obviously adjacent channel interference between them, right? So what we do is in input demultiplexer, after after we get the channels from the wideband receiver, with the use of 3 dB coupler, we are dividing into odd number channels and the even number channels. So based on the even number and odd number, based on the polarization which is given by these circulators, right? So based on circulator, this circulator is called as a anti-clockwise, that is called as a left hand circularization. So left hand circulation channel will be divided into odd numbers, and right hand circularization channel will be done with the help of even numbers. And as you can see, the one number channel is at the top, where the second number channel is the bottom. So there will be a greater frequency separations between the two channels. Clear, right? So this is the figure for input demultiplexer. The output from the receiver is fed to a power splitter, that is 3 dB coupler, which in turns to feed the two separate chains of circulator. So the 3 dB coupler will do the into two channels, and the two chains will be separated with the help of circulators. The full broadband signal is transmitted along each chain, and the channelizing is achieved by the means of channel filters connected to the circulator, that is the match determinator, which is shown in figure 2. The channel numbers corresponding to those in figure 1, each filter have a bandwidth of 36 megahertz. So in the first unit, or in the block diagram, we have discussed that there are similarly two transponders, each having a 12 channels, right? So there will be a total 24 transponders, and each transponder will have, or each frequency bandwidth will have a 36 megahertz and is tuned to appropriate center frequency, which is shown in figure 1. Although there are considerable losses in the demultiplexer, these are easily made up in the overall gain for the transponder channels, right? So for considerable or for the less loss, what we can do is we are giving the overall channel is distributed among the transponder channels with the help of separators, the separator chain of circulators. So that's all for today's session, right? In this session we have discussed the two segments of satellite, that is wideband receiver and the input demultiplexer, right? And now in the next session we are going to discuss about the power amplifiers in the space segment. So thank you for the session.